Hello and welcome to Dear Doctor, the channel where we explore the latest and most fascinating medical topics. Today we're going to talk about a new study that reveals some surprising insights into what happens when a person dies. Death is a mystery that has intrigued humans for centuries. What does it feel like to die? Is there an afterlife? Do we have a soul that leaves our body? These are some of the questions that many people wonder about, but few can answer. However, thanks to modern medicine and technology, we now have a way to study death more closely than ever before. We can revive some people who have experienced cardiac arrest, which is when the heart stops beating and the blood stops flowing to the brain. This causes the brain to lose consciousness and eventually stop functioning. Cardiac arrest is one of the most common causes of death in the world, affecting millions of people every year. However, not everyone who suffers from cardiac arrest dies. Some people can be brought back to life by cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, which is a technique that involves chest compressions and mouth-to-mouth breathing to restore blood circulation and oxygen supply to the brain. CPR can save lives, but it can also provide us with a unique opportunity to investigate what happens during and after death. Some people who survive cardiac arrest report having clear memories of experiencing death, even up to an hour after their hearts had stopped. These memories are often called near-death experiences, NDEs, and they can include various elements, such as a perception of leaving the body and observing the surroundings from above, a feeling of peace, joy, or love, a sensation of traveling through a tunnel or a dark space, a vision of a bright light or a being of light, a review of one's life events or interactions with deceased relatives or friends, a choice or a message to return to the body or continue to another realm. NDEs are fascinating phenomena that challenge our understanding of death and consciousness. However, not everyone who survives cardiac arrest has an NDE, and not everyone who has an NDE remembers it. So, what determines who has an NDE and who doesn't? And what is the scientific explanation for these experiences? A team of researchers from NYU Grossman School of Medicine, in cooperation with 25 mostly US and British hospitals, decided to investigate these questions in a large-scale study called AWARE-2, Awareness During Resuscitation. Their findings were published in the journal Resuscitation on September 14, 2023. The researchers recruited 567 patients who suffered from cardiac arrest in the hospital and received CPR. They interviewed them within 72 hours after their revival and asked them about their level of consciousness and memory during CPR. They also monitored their brain activity using electroencephalography, EEG, which is a technology that records brain waves with electrodes attached to the scalp. The researchers found that 4 in 10 patients who survived cardiac arrest recalled some degree of consciousness or memory during CPR that was not captured by standard measures. These memories ranged from vague impressions to vivid NDEs. Some patients described lucid death experiences that occurred while they were seemingly unconscious. The researchers also found that in a subset of these patients who received brain monitoring, nearly 40% had brain activity that returned to normal or nearly normal from a flatline state at points even an hour into CPR. These brain waves were associated with higher mental functions, such as thought and memory. These results suggest that some patients recall death experiences after cardiac arrest because their brains are still active and capable of processing information even when they appear to be dead. The researchers hypothesized that this brain activity may be triggered by CPR itself or by other factors, such as oxygen deprivation, stress hormones, or drugs. The researchers also suggest that these death experiences may have a psychological or spiritual significance for the patients who have them. They may help them cope with the trauma of dying and revive their sense of meaning and purpose in life. This study is one of the first large-scale studies to show that some patients recall death experiences after cardiac arrest and that their brains can show signs of recovery long into ongoing CPR. This challenges the conventional view that the brain suffers irreversible damage after a few minutes of cardiac arrest and that consciousness ceases when the heart stops beating. However, this study also raises many questions and limitations that need to be addressed in future research. For example, how reliable and accurate are the memories of the patients who recall death experiences? How can we verify or validate their reports of leaving their body or seeing things that they could not have seen otherwise? How can we explain the differences or similarities between different types of death experiences? How can we improve the methods and tools for measuring and monitoring consciousness and brain activity during and after cardiac arrest? How can we use this knowledge to improve the outcomes and quality of life of the patients who survive cardiac arrest? These are some of the questions that the researchers are working on to further advance this fascinating field of research. That's all for today's episode of Dear Doctor. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more medical topics. And don't forget to leave your comments and questions below. I'll see you next time on Dear Doctor.